Okay, we're going to look at how to make your own Word template for a card. Fairly straightforward. I'm using Paint Shop Pro, as you can see here, but I'm assuming it's roughly the same in Photoshop and GIMP, although the tools might be in different places. You'll have to find them. Right, I start with a template. This is an A4 sheet at 150 dpi, which if we look in the bottom right down here, you can see it's at 1753 dpi or pixels, I should say, by 1240 pixels. So that's an A4 sheet. Got 3 layers already. That one's blank. Here's the layers. The middle one here you see is just this dividing line, which will be a fold line on the completed card, and the background, which is just white. Next, I make sure we've got a couple of guides, and I'll tell you why 2 later. But again, this blue one's down the middle. It goes along the fold line. Obviously, a guide isn't printed; it's just something you use for working. I'll show you what this lower one is later. Right, the first name we're going to do is Chris. Make sure at the top right here we've got white fill, black coloured. You could change the black if you want to another colour. We'll leave it as black, but if you wanted it not so well seen, you could make it a light blue or something. There's the letter tool. Now for the font I use Impact. Bit of trial and error, but most of the letters in Impact I like. There are a couple I have issues with, but most of them I like. Size doesn't really matter because we're making it as a vector, as you can see here, so we'll be able to drag it out and make it bigger. Stroke width 2. The important thing is this kerning over here. The kerning, you can see we are on -267. This will squash the letters together. Let's have a look at that. So you'll see Nicholas was the last name I did. This time I'm going to do Chris. There we go, there's the word Chris. Hit apply and make that a bit larger, and you can already see the letters are squashed together, so there's no gaps. There we go. You should see the letters are slightly different sizes. It's a bit annoying, but they are. I've got snapped line on there, so that'll go, but only the S is hitting the top and bottom. So, as they're vectors, if I right click on the name Chris there, down to the bottom, convert text to curve as character shapes. And now you'll see I have them as all individual characters. I'll highlight the first one, make sure it's snapped to the line at the top and at the bottom. Same with the H, snap to the top and to the bottom. I'll go along and do each letter. There's the R, snap to the top, snap to the bottom. The I, to the top and to the bottom. And I will make sure with the S, although it does look the right size, and we'll just double check it goes to its guideline. And there we are, the word Chris. I can save that as it is, so we'll go File, Export as a JPEG, and save it in this folder here, and we'll call this Chris. '01. That's saved. Now if you've seen the templates I've done before on Freecraft downloads, you'll notice another style of template which is the word backwards on the back. So if we just copy that vector and duplicate, which copies the whole thing, we've now got 2 copies of it, but this top one we just flip, and there we are. When that's folded in half, you've got Chris on the front and backwards Chris on the back. Again, we'll save that. File, Export, JPEG Optimizer, and this time we'll call it Chris 02. Now Now, I did say earlier I would show why I've got this extra guideline down here. So if I get rid of these ones, which make up the word Chris, I deleted those two, and instead I'm going to do the word Ralph. R-A-L-P-H, there is Ralph. Apply that. That. Actually, I think all these letters on this one are the same size. We'll check through them again. Right, I'm going to split those off individually. Convert to curves and character shapes. So we've got each one. And again, I'm going to individually make sure they go to the bottom and the top. Now, the reason they're all going to exactly the same spots, if I view here, you see I've got snap to guides on. So when it gets close, each one snaps to that guideline. I have purposely left the L off at the moment. I'll show you why. I don't like this big gap here. So if I highlight the L, what I'm going to do is move that up until you can see the bottom of the L is on that line. That's my new guideline. So it's on there. Okay, now obviously that's a bit of a mess. I'll convert that to a raster layer. Now I'm going to copy the top. There we go. Edit, copy. Zoom in. And edit, paste as a new selection. And there we go. Now get the selection tool there, and this time I'm going to delete all that. Zoom out again, and you can see I'm left with an L, but with the bigger bottom there, so you haven't got this long line. So again, I shall save that. File, export, JPEG Optimizer, and that's going to be Ralph 01. And again, the same as the others, I'm going to duplicate that layer. So there's two of them, and then go up here to image, flip. Now I've got it backwards, and I'll save that. File, export, JPEG Optimizer, and this time we'll call it Ralph 2. Obviously, you don't have to do names. You can do mum, dad, happy birthday. Might be difficult to fit that in. You can do it the other way around if you want, and do it in 2 layers, so you get more words in. Happy on one row and birthday on the other. Maybe we'll show them later. But have an experiment, have a play around with it, and should be able to do any card template wording you want.